Hello, you gorgeous viewers and listeners of things that are fun to watch and listen to. Welcome to the Windbreakers podcast on Second Wind. I'm Yahtzee Croshaw. I'm joined by Sebastian Ruiz.
Yo, I'm going first this time. Let's get it.
Yes, and there's Marty Sleever as well.
Second's best.
So
I wasn't here last week. I feel like I haven't been here for a while.
You missed out on quite a convo. I do not remember what last week's topic was. Oh, when is the game over?
Oh, yes. Man, I wanted to talk about that because I wanted to plug my game, Starstruck Vagabond.
Oh, you could do that now. Right now.
No laws? You can talk about whatever you want.
All right, I will, because I'm doing weird things with that game in terms of making it over. Because there's a story, and when you finish the story, there's an extra objective. I mean, if you complete that objective, it basically resets the entire universe.
Well, that's cool.
Crikey, he done a story field.
So you can redo the whole universe, but with no story stuff. It's like a Zen mode. But in the depths of that Zen mode, there are also ways you can reset the universe again and reactivate the story mode. So you can play an infinite loop of game. Am I a bit quiet?
Incredible.
If that's what
your game's never going to end. That's when your game's over. Friggin' never.
I dream of people having special 5 times through the game speed runs.
I like it.
Speed runs, a wiki, and porn for your game. Those are your 3. I've made it in this place.
Anyway, let me know if my volume's all right. I moved my mic a bit closer. This week on Windbreakers, we are talking about cities in video games. What games have really created a sense of place that Marty's always going on about with the cities?
I do talk about that a lot.
All right, fine.
Okay, normally.
And what cities have been less good at it?
Sure.
Why don't we start with the thumbnail?
Yeah, I was about to say this topic was born from something I have been playing that I really enjoyed, and something you've been playing that you have not enjoyed.
Yes, see if you can guess which is which. So what are the 2 games we're talking about?
I'm going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake in a thumbs up, and you're going to be talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I'm assuming in a thumbs down.
Yes, pretty much. And I might as well talk about it here because God knows I probably won't have room to complain about this specific thing amid all the other things I'm complaining about in my upcoming review of Suicide Squad. But amongst other things, the city of Metropolis in that game really doesn't feel like a city. Because, I mean, you could have the excuse that it's supposed to be in the middle of a war zone and everything's completely fucked up. But everything just feels so noisy in that city. Funnily enough, because it's a live service game, and basically everywhere you go could be a venue for a shootout. But I find it impossible to differentiate one part of the city from another, beyond a couple of landmarks. But if you plonk me anywhere in that game and ask me to sort of triangulate where I am and what direction to go in to get to another specific part of it, I wouldn't have the first fucking clue.
It sucks, especially with that, because it feels like if your game is modeling a city after either a real city, which we'll talk about probably some games that have done real cities, or a city that is well known in pop culture and has been represented in various mediums a ton, it feels like it should be easier to create that kind of cohesion because you already have an audience who's coming in with a lot of preconceived notions over what this place is. So it feels like that a lot of your legwork is done, and yet they still completely shit the bed with this. And it just seems like it might be directly because of the gameplay loop and design. It seems to, like you say, kind of spit in the face of storytelling. A general live service, there was no ending, but also to bring up my sense of place thing. If the whole point of the game is to just keep on grinding and keep on engaging with these systems and mechanics, you're not thinking about building a sense of place artistically really at all at that point.
Well, quite. I mean, we all know the motives of Suicide Squad. It was to be a live service and then just secondary priority, kill itself. Just die. Just immediately dies and doesn't have to exist anymore.
Does the city at least work? And again, I don't want to step too much on your upcoming review, but does the city at least work in terms of providing a playground? Because there's certain cities that I think aren't good cities, but are at least interesting playgrounds. Like Crackdown, Sunset Overdrive. I don't know anything about those cities, but they're at least an interesting place for me to use the abilities in the game. Like, does Metropolis even have that going for it?
Well, not really, but I think that's more the fault of the traversal mechanics in the game. Because in Crackdown, yeah, you leap from rooftop to rooftop. It's crazy. But in well, it depends who you're playing as. In Suicide Squad, they've all got like different traversal mechanics that are all subtly suck in different ways. I was playing a lot of Captain Boomerang because, props to my fellow spiritual Aussies.
Yeah, there you go.
And his traversal power is you just throw a boomerang and a teleport to it, and that doesn't really engage with the environment at all.
Isn't that great? Yeah, no. It sounds... Suicide Squad to me felt like, hey, here's an outline for spots with different elevation. Nothing else. Nothing else. Just like, here is abject cover. Here is ambiguous height. Look,
it might
the high ground.
It might as well be a great big bowl of lumpy porridge.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a great big bowl of colourful lumpy porridge and debris. It doesn't even feel like streets. It just feels like stuff.
I feel like just boxes, isn't it? It's like,
yeah.
You might as well have been paintballing in this.
That's one of the things is like, to me, a good city in a game feels like a place that had a sense that it existed before you came and will exist after you leave. I mean, a lot of the cities in the games, unless the game like primarily takes place in a city like Spider-Man in New York or a Grand Theft Auto game, I'm almost thinking of like RPG cities where it feels like I'm passing through. And you get to a place and you can immediately get this sense of like history or sort of a vibe based on its architecture and its people and what its bars and restaurants look like. And if they have a thing they're obsessed with, whether it's like a pastime or an activity or a job or something, like you could do a lot of world building that way.
A lot of RPG cities. A lot of RPG cities, especially in like the 2D era, was basically just here's some houses, here's the inn, here's the weapon shop.
No toilets.
So, no toilets.
None of us poop in this city. Could you find the Eldritch Abomination that's taken our ability to shit? Please, I'm so constipated.
But as I said in the green room, you could make that a much broader thing. Where are all the toilets in any video game environment?
Sure.
So, I don't know. I do like that sense of what's a good city, and you said this sense of it's been here before me, it'll be here afterwards, but I also do kind of like the ones that have that on top of lending itself to whatever it is I'm doing. Like, that's kind of why I didn't vibe too much with Assassin's Creed 2. While we are in a real place, this is the Colosseum, and I was like, okay, I have to get down, cross the street, and now there it is. Whereas I much preferred Assassin's Creed 1, whereas it also being a bit historical, it felt like it just played with the environment more. Of like, I never have to touch the ground at all. Assassin's Creed 3, by far the worst one, because I've gone through those locations. And what do? You just stay on one linear path going from this branch to that branch, down back onto a fence post, and then I'm back on the road. So like, be lived in, sure, but also just sort of lend yourself to what it is that I'm supposed to be here for. To get away from Assassin's Creed, Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. That sense of like, sure, very lived in world, bit of history, but also I'm here to grind, baby. I'm here to do some weird things. Why is that bum like pissing on the Hollywood sign? And I'm gonna go grind on him.
Yeah,
not like that.
I'm
gonna grind on him, but yeah.
Yeah, you need to. There's like a line you need to walk, and like anything in games, like if you adhere too much to realism, things start to fall apart. If you try to design a video game city that feels like a real city, I feel like things will fall apart and won't be fun. So you kind of need to.
Well, I think that's an American city thing.
Okay.
I mean, if you design a city based around American city that's just like a grid, then sure.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to like realistically create a city like London, or I like the cities in Assassin's Creed 2, like some of the classic European ones that have all built up over thousands of years from the original like curvy goat tracks and
they've got texture
fields. Then they're very often not grids; they're sprawls. They're interesting.
Sure. I talked about in the past how much I liked Ghostwire Tokyo. I think you mentioned earlier.
Yes,
tourism, that kind of thing. Are there any real cities, cities in games that you think have done it well?
Does that count? Using an actual city, like a real city. Was it San Andreas feels great? Oh yeah, based on
A real city, right?
a real city with actual architecture and engineers that designed
Three
to make
cities,
good
no
flow.
less. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
but
yeah.
those aren't based on real. I mean, those are based on real cities, but it's not like Watch Dogs 2 is San Francisco, Watch Dogs 3 is London, Ghostwire
Sure.
Tokyo is Tokyo, and trying to like represent Driver San Francisco, that kind of thing. Like, are there examples of those, or even maybe some of the Assassin's Creed ones where their historical cities have you've been like, oh man, this really kind of nailed that city in one way or another.
Oh yeah, the colonies in Assassin's Creed 3. I've been to there. They're as vacant as they look. Absolutely, which
Yeah.
is a problem there.
Well-
I've never been to Victorian England. I don't know if Syndicate holds up.
Well, it's not a specific town, but I always think Swery's two games, Deadly Premonition and The Good Life, both did a really good job of creating the atmosphere of the kind of town it was set in. And I think Swery, like, apparently did exhaustive research. He went to like actual real life locations and did a lot of research. And Deadly Premonition set in that sort of like small, middle of nowhere American city, and it's very authentically feels like one because it's very unwalkable. You got to drive everywhere. There's like huge like fields in between every like significant location. Same is true of The Good Life. It really feels like a rural English village. The houses look really authentic, and there's way too much space between the shit you actually have to care about. I mean, the games kind of suck for all that, but he does a very good job at authentically creating the feels of these places.
That was a funny thing with Atomic Heart. People were saying it's like, well, you got old structures and these new things, and a lot of people apparently native to the area were like, no, that's pretty accurate. Where we've just built on top of the
don't live
older
in
stuff.
cities with history in them. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can almost tell as well when it's sort of devoid of it, because I think Redfall was based in Massachusetts. I was like, that's no Massachusetts I've ever been to. That looks like. You remember those carpets that had like roads and stuff on them for children?
Oh,
I was like,
God.
this is exactly what this feels like right now.
It's funny. Speaking of Massachusetts, the Last of Us TV show, at one point, a title card comes up and it says 10 miles outside Boston, and they're just in the middle of the mountains. I'm like, what? Like, why did you even use that title card? Like, just put another number. Say you're like hundreds of miles outside.
Do the DiCaprio thing, Boston.
That feels like a joke. Like that one bit in Austin Powers 2, where there's a car chase in what is obviously like Southern California.
Yeah.
And there's a sign on the road saying English countryside.
Yeah. But it's good. That's good enough. An audience will see that and be like, yep, that's fine. That checks out. You mentioned it's interesting the Swery thing about how Swery kind of nailed the feel of either rural America or small town England. It feels like sometimes you almost need an outsider's perspective on a thing to glean importance or present that thing from a different point of view. And when you mentioned how a lot of like 2D RPGs, the towns felt like very sort of just utilitarian. One example against that I would say is Earthbound. And I think Earthbound, in its Japanese-centric depiction of like classic Americana, was able to include all those kind of small details, be it the evolution of the towns being from like a little small town to a suburb to the big metropolitan area to the beach resort, and then just including little things that add flavor, like libraries and fast food joints and museums and things like that. And it feels like there's a through line there into where we get to now, which is another one of the games that made me think of this, which is the Like a Dragon Yakuza series, and their sort of depiction of whether it be a Japanese city or whether it be Honolulu, and how it sort of it really nails by zooming the camera in, it nails the density of those places and includes all those little details that normally other games would gloss over, but add a real sense of place there.
Someone told me, I asked during Amy's stream with that, I was like, is this real? Like, is this a real place? Obviously, Tokyo is real, but did they do a faithful depiction? Someone said, who's been there for 30 years, apparently, it's really, really close.
Yeah, and I've seen some things about Honolulu. I've never been to Hawaii, but like Gene Park, the journalist who used to live there, said like they nailed like literally some of these stores. He's like, these are all places I've been to. Like this place is one of the most like accurate depictions of a place I've ever played.
With AI coming through, I'd make a game with Google Maps. Just there you go. There, generate me a city block based on that. Bam.
Well, there are games you can play with Google Maps, like
GeoGuessr.
GeoGuessr. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's that one kid
So,
who's
I mean,
very good at it.
sometimes I like to go to places I used to live in Google Maps and just walk around on Street View for a while and see how everything's changed.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be like, oh, they tore down that thing, or oh, look, they put a chip shop over there.
Yeah, I like that sense of was there before you and after. Not mine though. They never updated. It's still stuck in 2005. Maybe the town itself is actually still stuck in 2005.
Maybe they drive through every year and they're like, yep, nothing's
Yeah,
changed. We just
nothing's
don't have
changed
to.
ever here.
Yeah, we don't have
Phenomenal
to update it.
Yeah. So then we've got the good balance, the tourism as well. What are just the heinous ones aside from Suicide Squad? Just in the history of gaming.
Hmm.
You know, we'll just go to standout cities. Did it really well in a game? Did it really terribly?
So the one I like when we talked about earlier, the one that stood out to me as did it really well was Midgar in Final Fantasy VII. Both in Final Fantasy VII Original, which you spend a few hours in before you go out into the greater world, and Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was able to take the entirety of the game and put it in Midgar, and really gives you a taste of this city that has a physical delineation between the haves and the have-nots. The haves on the upper crust of the city, and the have-nots in the lower part of the city. And just walking through them, you get a sense for how these people live. Like there's a sense of energy. There is that sense of if I wasn't here, life would still be going on, and people would still have their roadside stalls and their food carts near public transportation, and they would have this bar that everyone goes to, and they would have these are like the slums and the homes and the cats running around, and there's children playing and a little makeshift school, and it's all the kinds of things that just I feel like what makes a good city isn't any one single thing, but it is all those little details feeding in and kind of working together to really like put you in a place. I'm just gonna keep saying it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna lean into it.
I think the bad cities in games are the ones that you just can't remember when you're called upon to ask to think of a bad city in a game.
Is that
Like, here's
bad or
one.
bland?
Here's one. Agents of Mayhem. What do you remember about the city in Agents of Mayhem?
Was kind of purple, a little, maybe.
It's kind of purple.
I'm thinking the color purple, not the color purple like the color purple.
Oh no!
Color purple.
Just when I think back to it, it all sort of feels like the same wherever you were. There was like
Yeah.
St. Louis.
modern buildings and wide streets.
I feel like we've especially hit that with the rise of open world games. When you think of Dying Light 2, which came out like 2 years ago or something, I don't remember a thing about that city. I could not tell you what country that city was supposed to be in. I remember they tried to do a kind of like Yojimbo Sanjuro thing where you like play sides against each other, but I do not remember anything about the infrastructure of that city. And I liked the running around the city, and then I liked being able to get like the glider or whatever it was, or the parachute. But what was going on in the place was kind of just completely meaningless to me. And it just feels like a lot of those open world games kind of blend together in that and just become a mush.
Who was it? On the Discord, someone had put up a video of someone else where it said Liza P. mildest take, right? Is that just the sense of space? Because you got this hotel and it's in the middle of like to the west of the slums immediately, to the right behind us are where the rich people are, to the right's of a church, and then over on that side everything's burning down. And
Yeah.
it's like all happening at the exact same time, blending together. Where I was like, oh yeah, I never really noticed that. Maybe that's why I felt like I didn't belong here so much. As
One city I wanted to shout out was GTA 4 as well, because I played that a few times. But I always got the sense that wherever you were in that city, you had a vague idea of where you were on the map, just from looking around, and you knew what direction to head in to get to wherever you wanted to be.
I love it.
Like
Landmarks.
you'd be in like the Eastern European quarter where you start, where everything's a bit like run down. There's all like a lot of local owned businesses. And if you're there, you could just have to head north to get to the sort of housing projects. And if you're anywhere there, you just need to go west across the bay or across the river to get to the built-up business district.
Yeah, and that's I think that's one of those examples of you can take artistic liberties, and if you would try to recreate that 1-to-1, it would be a slog to get through the boroughs of Manhattan, unless you are swinging like in Spider-Man, and even that has to take a ton of liberties. But by condensing it, I feel like you make a much more entertaining city. And I think they did a similar thing with Vice City, honestly, back on the PS2. I remember that as one of the first open worlds that really like impressed me. And it just felt like, oh my god, there's so many distinct areas, and there's the mansions, and there's the slums, and there's the beach, and that famous stretch in Miami along the beach with the bright lights and everything. And you go back to it, and it's tiny. You know, you can fly across it in 2 or 3 minutes, but
Yeah.
impressive nonetheless.
I don't know. I'll say standout city for me. Bully. You could plop me back in there. It's like a little vague, but if you plop me back down in the Bully city, I was like, all right, I know exactly how to get from here to there to that. Great landmarks, great. That's also set in fictitious New England, right next to Redfall. Apparently, that actually feels like we're right by the coast. That's where you'd put the carnival. It almost gives a sense. I feel like if someone from Massachusetts played Bully and never having played it before, they would go, yeah, this seems about right where this rundown part would be, where the tracks would be, where the slums are. And it's almost like this unspoken, innate sense of direction that we have, depending on where you're from, right? It's just like it just subconsciously dings something in you. Like if I had a game that was based somewhere near where I grew up, because it is like historical, colonial America, I do get this sense of like, oh, the blacksmith would be right around over here because the river and that. It's like, oh, interesting. Do they hire people? Do they hire
I
people
grew
for
up in a
that?
small English industrial town, and I can't think of any game set in anything that's remotely the equivalent of a small English industrial town.
Yeah.
Skyrim?
No.
No.
Skyrim doesn't feel like that. No. It's funny. A game I love that I think has pretty lackluster towns, by and large, is Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Which Zelda's been kind of hit or miss when it comes to its towns in the past. I think Clocktown in Majora's Mask is one of my favorite examples of a town, because that's one of those things that we haven't talked about yet, but a place with a schedule. A place where it feels like, when we talked about it, feels like people are living here and they would be doing this without you. Like they literally do that in that game. You know, they have a set schedule throughout the day, and they'll be working at the inn from 9 to 5, and then they'll be going to a romantic rendezvous afterwards, and the postman comes through at this time, that kind of thing, which I thought was really impressive, and again lends a real sense of authenticity to it.
Well,
Whereas
everything
in
has.
the modern Zelda games, like those places, like I don't know, like the fish people live in that weird ass kingdom, but you don't get a sense of like what the hell this place is. Same thing with the Gorons, like the same thing with the Rito. Like they're cool looking, but they don't feel functional whatsoever.
The one city island in Wind Waker was pretty good for that.
Yeah, that one
Place.
was great, and that kind of had that. RPGs do a good job of a lot of them. You start off in like a small town, and then you go off on your big adventure afterwards. And Wind Waker on, I think, Onset Island or wherever that was called, where you start off, has that great sense of a small community, and then you venture out into the larger world. And games like Chrono Trigger have that, and just pretty much any RPG under the sun.
Well, if you want to get away from open world games, an example of like a great city with a great sense of place for me is the city in Thief. Thief, The Dark Project, and Thief 2. There's a real like sense of place created from that place, of like a huge urban sprawl. Every now and again, you get a mission that would take place in like a sort of pseudo open world, like borough of the city, and you get a real sense for how incredibly lost you could get.
Oh yeah.
And
Does
becomes
every mission take place in the same city in Thief? I've never played Thief 2. Like, are they all
yeah,
set in the same place?
yeah. It's called The City.
Yeah.
Oh, titular, the city.
Well, some of
And
them you're like down on the ground, or the one later on you're like starting
yes,
up top.
there's a very
above
good
everyone
level
else.
in Thief 2 where you have to navigate across a sequence of rooftops. And one of the things Thief 2 is good at is creating a sense for the culture and how life is in the city, like just in the background as you play. Like there's bits in Thief 2, because the whole plot of that game is about this like industrial cult taking over the city and sort of killing all the plant life. And you keep overhearing conversations, people saying, yeah, all my plants are dying. It's weird, isn't it? And they've built that really hideous statue over in the east side of the city, which you then go and get to see. later on in the mission, and um, and partly it was the fact that you didn't see or get to explore all of the city that gave it its sort of mythic feel to it, and that's why Thief 3 kind of fucked things up because they tried to make it open world.
You show your hand at that point, and
Yeah,
yeah,
and then it had lost all the mystique because you could go everywhere and it wasn't that interesting. But
yeah,
the environments.
games.
The environments had to be a lot smaller because it was like they had to increase the graphical fidelity. I don't know why you're showing Thief 4, Eric. That game sucks.
Oh
Is it?
no, Eric! How
What's your
could you?
favorite? What's your
You
favorite one?
monster!
Look at that classic.
I'm talking about Thief 1 and 2 and
Thief
Thief
4F.
3, Deadly
Yeah.
Shadows, which is one of the
Your
early post-Doom 3 high-def games where the environments were suddenly much more detailed and interestingly lit, but much smaller and less detailed.
Yeah, it's. I think sometimes it can be easier to display the feeling that something is huge and sprawling and only show small sections of it if you have some kind of interstitial in between.
Yeah.
I can't believe we are 27 minutes into bringing up Persona, but I feel like the Persona games do that pretty well. Persona 5 especially. You can kind of feel the urban sprawl of Tokyo, and then there's those small things like when you fast travel. Well, at first you don't get to fast travel; you have to take the train, and so it establishes this baseline. It takes a while to get to places, and you have to go into the train station. The train stations are confusing, and you have to find the right train, and then you have to take it to where you're going. And those small things kind of stitching together what like Shibuya feels like compared to Shinjuku, compared to Harajuku, like all these, it again creates this web in the city that even though you're ostensibly fast traveling between little focal points, in your mind you are kind of living the character, having to hop on the train to go all the way to kind of like the Golden Guy stretch of bars at night and everything, which I think is really cool.
Yes, you're a big weeb, we know.
Oh, you like Persona as
He's
well.
been to Tokyo.
Oh,
What do you want from him?
yes. Well,
His sense of place.
My Persona 3 review's coming out this week, incidentally.
Wink,
What?
wink, nudge, nudge.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think, to me, though, a city that lends itself to mastery, which is a hard thing to describe in a video games, but it is like the place that you grew up in, right? The place where here's the restaurant only locals know about. Here's the shortcut that if you've driven around here like for a few years you've known, lends itself to say like Crazy Taxi, road rage of Simpsons Hit and Run, where after a little bit of time you're like, oh wait, I need to get to this other section on the other side of town, but I know there's a quick little gap through this alley. That's sort of like it provides itself those, I guess, like gamified secrets, gamified mastery points where it just gives you this stronger sense of navigation. That's the word. I want not just my own sense of like, okay, here's the map and whatnot, but like I know where the secret alleys lends itself to Thief, like you said. Well, because he is a thief, he does know the underworkings of the town. He can get around in ways that other people can't. And when you first find them, even though he knows they're there, you're like, oh snap, I'm actually the thief. It's me and Garrett, not just him.
And that is like, I mean, not the thieving part, but like that is a realistic thing you get when you've lived in a city long enough. Like you start to know the shortcuts and the ins and outs. And like when I lived in San Francisco, I knew, like I walked all the time everywhere in that city. And I knew, if I want to get to this other neighborhood, if I go 2 blocks out of my way, I'll save myself a pain in the ass hill to climb. And like, whereas if you're just following the straight line or Google Maps, it'd be like, shit, I gotta walk up this really steep hill. But I'm like, no. I know if I go 2 blocks out of my way, I can cut this hill in half and have it spread out over 2 blocks and it'll be fine. Which again, that's like, you almost get that sense of navigation and mastery of living in a city. And if a video game city is able to do that as well, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well,
Are there many games that can achieve that feel? Because by the very nature, you don't live in a video game city for years before you start playing it.
Sure. Yeah. What do you, our Lord and Saviors from Software, do you think they're good at designing cities? Do you think your
empty
Yarnums,
ones?
your Yarnums, your Anorlandos, like, do you think those are quote unquote good, well-designed video game cities? Yarnum is cool. I can't imagine what Yarnum is like when it's not just dripping with werewolves.
Yeah, I don't know if like they would function as actual cities to live in. I think they function
Yeah.
very well as video game cities,
Yeah.
but while simultaneously creating a sense of nonsensicalness that a real life city can have. Like, why does the Yarnum twist around and reconnect in all sorts of weird places?
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing a real city might do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think Dark Souls 1 had a really good sense of space and
Yeah.
logic. Like, yeah, let's put the prison over there, put
Yeah.
the
Well, yeah.
graveyard down there, and then like build on top of all these ruins and whatnot.
Well, of course, early on in the game, you don't have fast travel, so they have to design the game around reconnecting with places. And I think it does it really well. And I think the level design goes downhill later in the game when you do unlock fast travel.
And the rest of the games in general. I don't know. I feel like some of the cities, so to speak, later on weren't all that good. Elden Ring, once you get to the city side of things, I'm like, oh Christ, I got to go up routes to get into rooftops and go down this hole. Like, oh God, where am I?
Yeah. I did like
Lanedale, sure.
no, another L, Liurnia of the Lakes. So like the city outside of Hogwarts felt like it was a place that had just like fucking sunk into a lake, into a swamp. It just became a swamp city. And like I was like, okay, I could sense that hundreds or thousands of years ago this was bustling, and now this place is musty as hell.
Lived in. That's what you
Lived
wanna
in.
create. The
There
sense
you
of
go.
having been lived in.
Nice and
Sense of
aged.
place, if you will.
Like,
I
if you look
also
look at something like PT, even. You
Mm.
can really tell the house in PT has been lived in because there's just like a random worktop covered in random pills and shit and loose bits of paper.
Yeah,
Like,
kind of like a
yeah,
sense
that's
of
what
clutter.
yeah, that's what all the surfaces in my plows look like.
Yeah, one of I think it's in The Last of Us Part 1 when you're wandering around Joel's house at the beginning before shit hits the fan. If you go into one of the bedrooms, there's just laundry on the floor. Like it was like, fucking, I'm just gonna throw this on here because I'm tired because I've been working all day. And like that's one of those just very small details that I'm like, oh, this is great because most video game bedrooms you walk in and are just like, here is a nightstand, there is a picture of my father, and I have a poster of a sport team, and that is it. That is my bedroom.
Oh yeah, you
Whereas
talk
most
to
people are
some
messy as
proper
hell.
grime, you know.
Yeah.
The Disco Elysium. That definitely felt like, I'm not from here, and I got knocked out, and I might have caused some trouble. And it, it's very
And I don't have any memory of any of this. So.
some good textures, good layering on that one. Very good.
Yeah,
Stuff,
yeah, I like that too.
It's interesting because Next Fest is pretty much done. There were a lot of demos tagged as exploration going for the like tiny city and sort of like the stray thing that they were going.
Yeah.
Literally, Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip is a little dude in a small town and he's trying to get to the moon with a taxi.
Great little dude. That game got on my radar when Elise wrote about it for the video we put up last week. But man, love myself a little dude in a big world.
Right? Yeah. There's just this a lot of. I'm throwing you in. You have no memories. You're not from here, and figure your way out by traversing, by talking to the locals, by just having a gander. Which I think that's my favorite thing. I think that's where video games shine because in a book. Books can only tell you, what they want you to know. Movies, they can only hold the shot for as long as possible. A video game can live in infinite. Just like, here's all the detail, and I'm not going to give it to you. You can have as much or as little as you want through your own exploration.
Ooh. I mean, I guess we don't want this discussion just to turn into randomly naming games. I just remembered one. Gravity Rush. Did you ever play Gravity Rush?
Yeah. That's a great city.
That felt like I was a person with superpowers exploring a city from a Jean-Pierre Jeunet film.
Yeah. It was great.
Like City of Lost Children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't feel anything like a quote-unquote real city, but is a beautiful, like you said, a good amalgam of feeling like a playground while also feeling like an actual place.
Yes, that was good.
Was Rapture a good city? Was that well designed? You think? One from a game perspective, and two from like
certainly unique. I mean, certainly if you were dropped into like a random part of it, you'd instantly know where you were.
Yeah, I would say it feels more like a theme park, right? Which is kind of the point where it feels like fucked up Disneyland.
Well, Bioshock Infinite setting even more so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up Universal Studios.
Because that's the whole thing. They're grand architects, but almost like I would not live here.
Yeah. That being said, they do have good bars, and I think a video game city is only as good as its finest bar. If you
Mhm.
put a good bar in a game, I'm like, you sold me on. Grim Fandango, great bars. You open up one of those great bars.
Oh,
Persona
yes.
5, good bars.
Hmm. Oh,
Majora's
we're
Mask
almost
has
there.
milk bar, good bar.
Time to bar. Oh.
Yeah, Watch Dogs 3 had some good pubs. That's what we call them in England. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Whoa.
I like how in Earthbound, Nintendo chickened out of calling them bars in the English dub.
What
So
they
they're
call
they're replaced with cafes.
Cafes, and you're
Oh,
supposed to go in there and get like real fucked up
Yes.
on like moonshine in order
Whoa,
to see the other world.
whoa, I'm feeling really woozy from all this coffee I've been drinking. Whoa, I should cut down.
yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, you're too young. We can't serve you coffee." I'm like, "This isn't what this is about." You
Yes.
lied to me, Earthbound.
I'll take it.
Shall we
Uh,
go to super chats? There's a lot of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Alright.
and folks are mentioning a lot of cities that I'm gonna wanna chat about.
Mm.
And yeah, thank you to everyone who's getting your super chats in. Tell us about your cities. Real cities, fake cities, it doesn't matter.
Don't dox yourself, yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
dox yourself. Yeah.
Video
Tell us
game
what's
cities. There you go.
mother's maiden name.
Okay. First, we have one from Eloise, who gives £2 and says, "Why not make a Mog World game? Because that will kind of kill the joke." Eloise, it was a book taking the piss out of video games, and if it were a video game,
Take the
then
piss out of books.
it
Think
wouldn't
about
really work, would it?
Take
No
the
one
piss out of
reads.
books. You could do it. No one reads.
Chaos Chris
oh,
gives $5. Sorry, were you saying something?
oh no, there was a member one, but I'll do it after Gas, Chris.
Okay. And he says, "Here is 5 for pulling me away from live Senate coverage. I don't want to watch that. It'll just depress you
It will
these
depress
days."
Oh,
depress you.
how old are you? Who's watching the Senate?
I only have C-SPAN. I need it.
Alright.
Hick Warrior, been a member for 2 months. Thank you so much, Warrior of the Hicks. It's been 2 months now. Oh, how time flies. Agreed.
I know.
Really? Oh my god.
It's February already. We've only been doing this since November.
Yeah.
Who wants to be my Valentine's? Any takers? 2 days? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a cheap
Eric
date.
asked us on Firelink if we have Valentine's plans
Oh,
for the
shit.
Firelink show on Wednesday. Yeah, we're gonna do the main topic on Wednesday is gonna be
Hot or not.
does Kirby fuck an expose? He does big sucking, but I don't know if he does any cool fucking. So we'll figure that out on Wednesday.
You know how you bring someone off by just cutting a grapefruit in half and just sort of mouthing their bell end?
Surely,
Right,
yes.
I just wanted
course.
to put that image in your head. Moving on.
Yeah. No, I do that all the time.
I love grapefruit.
Call me by
Snake
your
in the
name.
Garden gives €2 and says, "Audio only, folks. You're missing Eric's visual goofs."
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a host and I'm missing Eric's goofs because I have it in the corner and I just start seeing stuff happening and I'm like, I can't watch it. I'll watch it afterwards. I'll get the cliff notes of the goofs.
look
no,
at
at the
Kirby.
moment
Look at him.
he's got Kirby looking startled, appropriately enough.
Oh, the whole titty, he said.
The whole thing, Kirby. Imagine DDD. I don't know how many DDD is one of those penguins. Does he have like multiple? Like, does he have like 8 nipples? How do penguins work?
What?
Are penguins mammals now?
Penguins
What?
don't lactate.
No, he's not a penguin. What's the name? What's King DDD?
He's a penguin.
Is he a penguin?
He's
Yes.
a bird. He's very much a bird, I think.
I don't have an amiibo of him, so I can't do like. An
Oh no,
investigation.
we can't check the
I
anatomy.
don't think there would be nipples on an amiibo.
Oh, for how much he pays, they should. Oh my god, that's a very buff penguin.
I'm playing face value now.
Oh, you're playing a different game. Yeah.
It's fine.
Coffee Koala gives £4.99 and says, "Toffee for Chief Marketing Officer. Hope the coffee and hat, Eric Editing Magic, get a few more well-deserved Patreon subs for you all." Good point, Coffee Koala. Everyone should subscribe to the Patreon.
Because we're now paying ourselves, and it turns out there's just a lot of people who make money.
Turns out I'm pretty high maintenance.
Yeah, him and his Ferrari rockers.
Yeah,
Crazy.
we all have our things. Nick needs to fix his sliding door.
Yeah, his wall door that he's
his
having
wall
trouble
door.
with.
Have you ever heard the term wall door?
Is it door wall or wall
salad?
door?
No, he said wall door because we kept making the wall door like Waldorf Astoria goofs. He said I'm excited to get paid this week because I need to fix my wall door, and all of us were like, "What?" And then he showed it to us, and he's like, "It's a door that's in a wall." And Jack and I were like, "They're all doors are in walls."
Are in walls.
Yes.
It was nuts. It was genuinely nuts. Which it turns out it was Southern Michigan slang, which makes sense because that's where he's from.
That's fucking localized.
Isn't it?
Extremely
Coast,
localized.
You think that, but yeah, it's like in St. Louis. That's the only place to get gooey butter cake, and it's just them.
Yeah.
Weird
It's
people.
called gooey butter cake. I bet
Yeah.
DDD's made that before. King DDD.
Surely.
It's like being in the one part of America where they still say Coke to mean every single soda.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, Dr. Theo gives $5 and says exploring Source Engine cities feels strangely lonely, like they feel like unintentional horror games.
Well, that's where the liminal spaces genres come through, like back
Yeah.
rooms of like, oh, isn't
Yeah.
it weird that it's empty?
Stanley
Yeah, we haven't talked
Parable.
about spooky cities. What kind of a city do you
Spooky
think
city?
Silent Hill is? You like Silent Hill. You like those games.
Yeah, it's it's like the Deadly Premonition setting. It's like a small resort town in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you speaking of Source Engine, do you City 17, is that the name of it in Half-Life 2?
Yes,
What do you think of City 17? Do you think that's a good
pretty
video game city?
I think it is a good video game city. I think it's very well realized. The sort of mixture of the old Eastern European architecture and the combined evil alien tech is surprisingly effective for giving a sense of lived-in-ness.
Yeah, and it does a good job of you walk into an apartment building and you can't go into any of the rooms, and it's not just like, well, the door's locked or you can't interact with it. Like they have all those things, like the government came and barred up every apartment, and so there's just like a small touch like that. And you're like, oh, okay. Story wise, it makes sense why I can't just rummage through all these places.
Right. I mean, the old war games used to have some pretty cool like cities that you were running through that were bombarded. I mean, Black Ops had a sick scene in Havana where I was like, "Is this really little Cuba?" All right. Oh well,
Is
real
this what
Cuba.
it's like?
Yeah.
Real Cuba, big Cuba.
Yeah. Great framing and whatnot. Just show me the hot spots like in those disaster movies where it's like, boom, we hit the Golden Gate Bridge and the Statue of Liberty, the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also liked Ravenholm because that does is a different thing, but I like hyping up a place before you get to it.
Yeah, we
I
don't
like
go
shit.
there anymore.
Yeah, we don't go there anymore, and you're like, oh, I definitely want to go to this place. Like, I want to see what's going on here.
Oh,
I
no,
think
we're
it's
right.
Yeah.
RoboNob the Snob gives €11.99 and says Iwaudai in Persona 3 is the best depiction of Coventry, with people getting depressed every day.
They do get very
Yes,
depressed. Yeah.
Coventry is a very depressed, middle of nowhere English city.
Oh, I thought Coventry. I thought that was like being a nun.
No, although there is a
convent.
district
That's
in like in the Arkham games. There's a district of Gotham City called Coventry, which makes me laugh.
That was a
Because
good
Coventry's
city.
that was like the closest city to where I grew up.
Coventry. Interesting.
That was a
Yeah.
good city. Batman
Yeah.
City. Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the Suicide Squad Metropolis all the sadder, is that this is a studio that made like a fucking banger of a city in Arkham City, and then
Yeah, I wonder if there's some weaponized incompetence at work on Rocksteady's part. Oh no, we fucked up making a live service game. Guess you can't make us make any of these anymore. Guess we'll have to go back to the actually in good single player games with integrity now.
but
That
the
a skill
the
set
scary
people
thing to
pay
do that
for?
now. The scary
love to do
thing
that.
is now they'll just gut the studio. Like not that's necessarily going to happen in Suicide Squad, but for Rocksteady, but like that just seems like we see those stories every day, and so like you can't have a failure to make a point. If you have a failure, that just might be your last game.
Yeah. Also, the amount of time it takes to make games these days, quite a long way to go to make a point.
Takes 7 years of your life to prove a point.
Yeah. Fox D gives $5. Says, I'm still waiting for the game city that doesn't just feel like a checklist of need fulfillment. Ammo store here, armorer there, quest giver here.
Oh, those are MMOs, ain't they? They're like, hey, I need you to talk to the baker that's standing right next to me.
You know, one city we didn't mention that I noticed the chat was sort of foaming at the mouth for us to bring up was the city from Cyberpunk. Night City.
Oh yeah.
I
There's a
mean,
whole lot of extraneous bullshit in that game.
CD Projekt Red's kind of decent with the cities. You know, The Witcher had a pretty good old
I
town.
I wondered
city
why
too.
they marked restaurants on the map. Why there's so many like different restaurants you can go to in Cyberpunk, because there's literally no gameplay benefit to eating food. But
That's where
there
the
are so many
toilets are.
restaurants with offer different dining experiences.
you don't even get small things like in like Yakuza where it's like, oh, if you sit down with your party, they bond with them, or you can heal yourself. It's just
Yeah. It's just
eating.
there. If you feel like role playing as a restaurant critic, you can.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Goldrack gives €5 and then his message was retracted. So maybe he was being an asshole. Who can say?
No, he's got a message coming up. I think he just.
No.
Okay.
Retracted means they took it back. Deleted is we got it.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know that. That's
Mhm.
good. That's a fun fact.
Tinker gives $5 and says, Yahtzee, can you say... Oh, here we go. Que chingue a su madre el America.
That's pretty good.
America being a Mexican football team.
Yeah.
What is that? What is it?
Oh, it's just soccer stuff. Chinga
What
su
does it
madre-
mean, though?
All right, chinga su madre literally means fuck your mom, but we say it for everything. It's just like fuck off with them. That's just we don't like that team. It's
okay.
one of Mexico's soccer teams. It's the New York City, Mexico City one. There you go.
Well, that's worth remembering.
What we got? We got Chivas or something? A Chivas fan? Moving on.
Achievements? Like Xbox achievements?
Yeah, those.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Gildon Yetich gives $2 and says, Shadows of Doubt nailed the simulation approach. Yeah, not a big city, but it kind of blows my mind that literally every apartment in every building in that game you can go into.
Yeah,
And you
you
can
just don't know what you're gonna find.
explore people's stuff.
Felt very like what Robert Rodriguez Sin City. I feel like he had something to do with that.
Hmm. Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, Laugh if you must, but I think the next Sonic game should have a sandbox city with missions like Spider-Man, considering Frontiers open world was decent.
I like the city in Sonic Adventure 1. I think about that city a lot.
I'm not joining you on this one, Alex Armstrong, because I think what makes Sonic Frontiers work is that it's set in wide open spaces where you can just run free like a big old black beauty horse.
Yeah, that's what I was
Whereas a
thinking.
city has an awful lot of stuff that will get in the way if you're trying to go very fast from place to place.
That sounds
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Just
because people like the San Francisco facsimile in Sonic Adventure 2, but that is a
Running
really linear
around at
level.
the speed of sound, etc.
I was trying to find you. Yeah, that's a beautiful song. Yeah. I pointed in every direction except until I found you. You were hard to find.
Goldrack gives €10 and says Clocktown and Pathologic 2's town feel more alive than any other place in games. An MM remake should give the other hubs the same treatment.
Like
Majora's Mask, he
Yeah.
means. Yes.
Yeah, the Majora's Mask hub. That's probably my favorite. Clocktown's probably my favorite city in any Zelda game. Pathologic again is one of those games. Frost, you should play Pathologic. God knows Yahtzee's not going to, and God knows I'm not going to. So just take one for
I
the team.
tried. I gave it a go.
Wait, what is this? Oh,
It's
feck.
like it's
Horror
like
games.
it's a fucking, but no, it's like a capital G game where it's like I think you got to do like
Yeah.
poopies and stuff in it, and like
Yeah, the
you got to
poopies?
manage
What?
everything. I think it's got to be like, oh, you got too much poopies, so you got to find a place to go.
Oh god.
It's one of those games.
Some people seem to like it.
Yeah.
Witticism gives $10 and says fantasy RPGs usually have bad cities, IMO. They never feel big enough or lived in. Every building has a specific purpose, shop, quest, guild. Novigrad from Witcher 3 is the exception I think of.
Yeah, see.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I mean, I think if cities feeling like that early on were just a technical limitation. Like, I don't think you were supposed to go to like a major city in an early RPG and assume the kingdom is only 3 buildings tall. I think it was supposed to be like a representation of
Yeah.
what the
You're supposed
larger
to-
city was.
Yeah. You're supposed to infer.
Yeah, which again, like the
Oh.
Midgar of Final Fantasy VII proper is probably only a couple dozen screens. But you're supposed to infer it's a much bigger thing, and then when you see Final Fantasy VII Remake, you're like, oh, yeah, that is a much bigger thing. So,
Suspend your disbelief.
yeah.
All that. Jackson Jewel gives $5. Says, only city I ever memorized was Saints Row 2. Didn't even need the minimap. I guess Skyrim's town too, but they're like 4 buildings each. Well, you must have played a lot of Saints Row 2 then, Jackson Jewel. As well you should, because it's good.
Did it take place in the same city as Saints Row 1? Did they all take place in the same city?
The first two are set in the same city, I think, although
Okay.
the city in Saints Row 2 has been built up a lot. Saints Row 3 is in a new city. Saints Row 4 is set in a virtual reality recreation of the city from Saints Row 3 because they couldn't be asked to design a new one. And then Get Out of Hell, I think, does the same thing.
Yeah, fun facts.
But anyway, SVS Guru 2000 gives €5. Says, who could forget the Starfield cities? There's expansive megalopolises that could house a grand total of 500 people if they live in bunk beds. Oh, this, burn, etc.
Yeah.
I felt like
I don't
what
think
was it? Outer Worlds, Worlds. I feel like
Outer
that had
Wilds is space. They're both space.
they're
Outer
both in
Wilds is
space.
indie. Outer Worlds
Out,
is Fallout.
yeah, Outer Worlds was the Black
The
Isle
Obsidian one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Obsidian.
Yeah, it had pretty decent cities to it and whatnot.
Mhm.
But honestly, I like the first area a lot more. That wasn't much of a city, but that felt like a little lived in. I don't know, like a gold mining town.
Come on, Outer Wilds or Outer Worlds?
I'm talking worlds.
Because the opening of Outer Wilds also feels like a little lived in.
Oh, they do the same thing, don't they? Damn.
Yeah.
Just let me wander. Just let me wander.
The Piss Bandit gives $5 and says, here's something that might be heretical, but I preferred Steelport over Stillwater in the Saints Row games.
Oh,
Okay, I think Stillwater is the city from the first two, and Steelport is the one from the three.
I googled Steelport and it took me to a city in South Africa or a brand of knives.
First one.
The knives.
Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, Spec Ops The Lines Dubai felt like you were travelling all over the place, fucking things up even worse. Also sucks the game's delisted everywhere now.
Yeah.
War games do that pretty well. Little cityscape and whatnot. That's creepy to me. Horror games, I've never been scared by like the city in a horror game, but in shooters, I'm like, God, so many vantage points. I don't want it.
Yeah, and that's another. I just streamed through the entirety of the game the other week, and that's another game that does a good thing like Midgar, where it's juxtaposes the haves and the have-nots, which is obviously something in Dubai proper and in honestly most major cities. But sort of juxtaposing the like complete garish opulence of the people with money compared to the absolute squalor of the people without money.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Love it. What are you doing with Toffee?
I'm just
Toffee
teasing
doing?
my dog.
Toffee's going wild. Toffee's
Yeah,
so
he
upset that they delisted Spec Ops Line, which, to be fair, is just because there's so much licensed music in that game. Every time I got to one of those points, I was like, "Oh yeah, the license is probably went up for all these," and they were like, "We're not gonna pay for this."
He's so mad he's gonna take it out on this yellow duck.
Yeah. Make your own music.
Music industry. This yellow duck is you.
That is clearly a chicken.
Okay, fine.
Was a chicken if not a yellow duck?
Well, there you go.
How many
Okay,
nipples do chickens have?
Yeah, it's got a little chicken head thing going on.
Yeah.
Aw.
Or that's
Okay, I'll just hold it here for him to come get.
There you go.
Stuart Green gives £2 and says, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Rogueport, best city ever.
Great.
Yeah, I liked how it wasn't just, some toads who live in houses complaining about Princess Peach being kidnapped again.
Yeah.
The city in Paper Mario 2 really feels like it has a history.
Mm-hmm.
Did Fable do those well?
I just like that there's a fucking gallows in the middle of the town square.
It is.
It's pretty fucking dark for Mario, but then you think about it and think, wait, how many Mario species would actually be affected by a gallows? How many of them actually have necks?
Also,
Toad.
Could you kill a Goomba with a gallows? Because
do you think a Goomba is the after result of a gallow? Like a Goomba had a body and then got its head lopped off and is now just a little Goomba walking around?
Well, gallows don't chop heads off.
No.
They strangle you.
Oh, I thought it was a guillotine in the middle of town. No, is it gallows?
No, it's gallows.
Oh, my mistake.
Slightly darker
What
than
if it's a 2-in-1?
Is it? Would you say a gallows or a guillotine is darker? I think a gallows is a darker thing to have.
A dull guillotine is the darkest. If it takes more than one whomp, it is the darkest, I think.
Peter Riley gives $5 and says, speaking of Thief, I've been playing The Black Parade, which is a fan-made mod that released recently. It also does the city missions well. Yeah, people keep banging on about that. I got too many other games to play, I'm afraid.
Because you hate Thief 4th and you play that Portal fan mod, you just open it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also love My Chemical Romance, and they love the Black Parade. So,
Mm. When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city. I'll have you know.
how did I not point to you?
No,
It's
I seem
very
to
hard.
recall it.
In a
I seem to
marching
recall it
band.
was to. Yes, I seem to recall it was to see a marching band.
Yeah.
And he said, "Son, when you grow up, will you be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you on about, Dad? I'm just trying to
Yeah,
watch this fucking band."
Yeah,
It's a crazy thing for a dad to say to someone.
right.
Yeah,
If it
You can
hadn't been
relax,
for
Dad.
Cotton Eye
I was like,
Joe,
I was like, "Dad, have you been on the moonshine again?"
Oh no, he went to Moonside in Earthbound.
Nirast25 gives 10 rons and says, "Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime."
that Transformers thing.
Metroplex.
I don't know what he's on about.
I always
Metroplex
just
apartments,
if I don't understand something, I assume it's about one of your books, and then it's
No, not
or the
this
then it's
time.
British.
or the British.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I imagine that's where all the Transformers lives in
In
apartments. together.
Metroplex.
Yeah, it's like Friends, but for
It
Transformers.
is. It is Transformers.
I knew it. Yeah, Last Prime.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Anyway, Puntabaya gives £2 and says, "What about City 17 in Half-Life 2? Well, we've been over that. Puntabaya.
Oh, pretend we talked about it earlier just because of your donation, and we really appreciate it.
What a
Yes,
grand point.
Thanks for your money, retrospectively." Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "Not a city, but thoughts on Wind Waker's big ocean." I actually quite liked exploring the big ocean in Wind Waker. It certainly achieved giving you a sense of epic journeyness,
And your
especially
boat
when
is
the
better than
music,
your horse.
especially when the music kicks in,
Oh,
etc.
It's also cool to know that was actually a good rendition of the Open Sea song.
No, it
I
bloody
like
wasn't. You fucking creep.
I like the idea of like knowing that like a couple hundred feet below me is an entire kingdom. That's exciting.
Fuegan, member for 2 months in tip jar. Thank you very much.
Hey,
And
Foygan,
then
thank you so much.
Snake in the Garden gives €5 and says, "Sense of place so important to farming or life sims. So many games have lifeless villages, and then once you're done farming, game over. Stardew, great at this."
sure, but I mean that is the peak of a utilitarian society. They can
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead and
if
do the
it's,
whole like. There's the baker. There's the blacksmith.
if it's a game like Stardew, then
Yeah.
you're going to be in that place for the entire game anyway, like basically just 3 areas. So
How do you feel about games where you make your own cities? Either
City
a Sim
builders?
City, City Skylines, yeah, or even like an Animal Crossing where you're making a little village, or even like mini games in other games where it's like this place is a piece of shit and you need to fix it up. I always like that. I like an RPG where like this place is a piece of shit, have at it, and then you make a little society out of it, and you feel like you put your thumbprint on it.
it's not really my bag.
Same.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to ask me to be creative, I'd ask you to pay me for it. It's my job.
Problem is, I get too not hackery, but I get too meta. So it's just like, okay, if I can just lock you all in a room with a toilet, that's all you need. That's all I'm gonna do. I don't care if it in real life. That's just not how it works. I mean, Amazon warehouses maybe, but yeah, no, I can't get too into it. There was that Manor Lords is coming through. It has a setting to where you can walk through the city that you've made. I'm like, well, like kind of helps.
Yes,
but
and I seem to recall SimCopter had the ability that you could import the city you designed in like SimCity 2000 or SimCity 3000 or one of those,
mm,
and then you could just fly around it in your little chopper, putting
yeah,
out fires and stuff.
I'm just not a logistics man.
Anyway, Henrietta Vermillion gives $2 and says, "Thoughts on Sunset City from Sunset Overdrive? Well, I don't remember much about it, so it can't have been very good."
Yeah, that's my like I was saying earlier, it's a great playground. Nothing about the city is memorable, but maybe it being a great playground is all that matters. I don't think you need to, like I was saying earlier, like, oh, I want a sense of history and I want to know what people are doing. I don't think it's fine. If your game's about goop monsters, maybe it just matters that they drank a bunch of fucking energy drinks and turned into goop monsters, not let me bounce off the hood of your car and kill things on power lines.
Yeah, let
And
me
it does
grind
that
on
well.
something. Yeah.
Just let me grind.
Not that way though.
No, don't let me grind
In the
that
good
way.
In the
Yeah,
good way.
good grinding. Good grinding.
Jackson Jewel gives $2 and says, "Yahtzee, encourage me to work out today, please. Do some press-ups, you fat git. Every press-up you don't do is one your arch nemesis could have over you."
Yeah. Didn't you, Frost? Didn't you have like a gaming workout regimen of like you do X amount of somethings during load screen every time you die, or didn't you say that you were playing a game like that?
I used to, yeah, when I used to play more like multiplayer focused games. But problem is, I got good at the game, so I just got,
Yeah.
I got good and fat, and my wrists hurt, so I stopped. Yeah.
Enough. Chaos Chris gives $2 and says, "I am 33." Well done.
Yeah.
Happy
I mean,
birthday.
Congrats.
You've
Chaos
made
Chris.
it. Happy birthday.
They call that the
Godless
Scottie
Heathen.
Pippen birthday.
Godless Heathen gives $2 and says, "When's the next Let's Drown Out with Gabe Morton?" Never. Piss off.
Let's go.
And then SVS Go 2000 gives €10 and says, "Video game cities should be spatially compressed and mostly inaccessible. Once they become too big and you can go anywhere, they just become annoying maze-like obstacles and you just tune out most of it."
Agreed.
I'm okay with that though. If it's like, if you wander through these cities, you can go through the drawers, and odds are you don't find anything. You know, I'm kind of okay with that. Shadows of Doubt does that. Yes, you
Yeah, I
can
think
go into every apartment, but odds are they're not all killers, and they're not all
Yeah,
doing anything
odds are
special.
there's nothing particularly relevant there.
Yeah.
So it makes it all the more special when you do find like a dead body.
I mean, you could go out of your way to create a database of every single person in the city's fingerprints, but that would probably be very dull. Camden Ninja gives $2 and says, "Happy 99th day of Jasantmas, guys. Still going." Yeah, I wouldn't hold up much hope on
Is
Escapists
tomorrow going to be
lasting
100?
very long.
Yeah, I think so. Hidden
HBD.
gem.
HBD.
Yeah,
Just
I don't think they're going to do that zero punctuation revival with a new voice performer at the center of it. I mean,
call
they
me. I'm
might.
free. I'll do it. I'll just like everything. Be really positive. You won't know it's me. I'll go in there a student and accept. I just keep talking about how much I appreciate a sense of place.
Yes, you'll talk about how much you like games and talk very slowly.
Yeah,
Yes.
in a very foreign accent, not of this world. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about my wife a lot. My wife. Nice. That was Borat.
Henrietta Vermillion, welcome to the Green Gang. And then Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, "Got Just Cause 2, just cause. But it has the same problem GTA 5 had. Too huge a city, boring, restrictive missions, and the hookshot gets boring after a while." Well, have you considered doing other things then? Like, have you considered hijacking planes and flying them into buildings?
Jesus.
Yeah, drive carefully and help the elderly.
Yeah.
The real challenge in Just Cause is just to drive like a sober, like
not
law-abiding
be a
citizen.
degenerate. Yeah.
Wojtek gives $20 and says, "Completely agree. A city needs to have stuff to explore, Witcher 3, Skyrim, etc. But when it's just a big space with nothing there, Hogwarts Legacy, anything Ubisoft makes, it's just a slog."
It's a bloody school. You ever been to a college campus? They're nothing extreme.
I've often said the good sandbox feels like the thing you want to explore. The bad sandbox just creates a commute between missions.
Yeah.
That's just flyover states. Ooh.
Yeah. I don't think all Ubisoft games are like. I like the cities in Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 1, 2, 3. I like their depictions of Chicago, San Francisco, and London, respectively.
I take it as a sort of like, these games are very linear, but if you do want to just, to go off the beaten track for a bit, go for it. Don't make that the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drive-by commenter gives $5 and says, "I do wonder what FF8's S-Star would be like as an open-world city with a transport system." You might be alone there, drive-by commenter.
I also wonder that, and I want to know what my Balam Garden is like when my school stands up and walks away, because that has a school that can stand up and can just walk across the continent.
Sorry,
Like
I
all
know
good schools do.
literally nothing about Final Fantasy VIII except that the sword is also a gun.
I was about to say, do you know that the sword's a gun? Yeah, it rules.
God.
It rules. Doesn't make any sense,
has-
but it's fucking cool.
There's actually a lot of historical precedent to guns that are also swords.
Really? How come we're
This
not
was
bringing those back?
Muskets,
It was a
man.
thing for a while. Yeah, bayonets. The whole concept of a bayonet is
That's
turning
right.
your gun into a sword.
It's just the element of surprise. You try to stab a man and then bang. Like,
Yeah.
just, whoa.
Yeah. Ballistic knives.
Brought a knife
The
gun to a
weapon.
gunfight.
Yeah. Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, "I did like Far Cry 5's Hope County. It felt like an actual place, interesting people lived in and wanted to protect. Even talking to them unlocked stuff too."
I thought so too. I liked Far Cry
Yeah.
5 a lot when I look back on it. I liked Far Cry 5. This might be blasphemy, but that might be my favorite modern Far Cry game.
Far
Like,
Cry 5
everything
felt to
was-
me like a game that wanted to be the last in its respective series.
And
Yeah.
did it do
It's
that?
like
Literally ends with a
it's
nuke.
yes, it ends with a nuke. It also had a sense of this is
Yeah.
the series coming home.
Yeah.
And then it kept going.
And then it kept going because the people wanted their fat money checks. As opposed to their fat baked bean checks and all the other kinds
Yeah.
of checks that exist.
Mm.
Niras 25 gives 25 rons and says, don't know if this is on your radar, but hashtag blood, B-L-U-D, looks to be a Zelda-like set in a neat little town. I'd never heard of that. What do you on
I've
about?
never heard of it either.
I played it. It's a bit. It's all right. Not crazy. As far as Zelda likes go, there's another one called King's Grave, which instantly had me way more curious because the king is revived and he's like, "Oh, what's going on? Where am I?" And he travels out a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, my lord, is that you? It's been 50 years."
Yeah.
So you're just trying to figure out, like, "Oh, why did I come back?" and trying to fix the place up.
If I was a king and I came to life and realized I was in a place called King's Grave, my first thought would be, is this literally the last interesting thing that happened here? Me
Probably.
being buried here? It doesn't
The
doesn't
game's called
speak
King's
much
Grave.
for the place, does it?
No, you come back, you're on the throne, apparently. I imagine you just got
You've
murdered.
been
or
dead for
something.
50 years?
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. You've been
They didn't move your
resurrected and
body?
you have to figure no.
Some reason I'm thinking of that Bill Hicks routine where he said, I see all you Christians wearing crosses around your necks. You think when Jesus comes back, he's ever going to want to see a cross again?
Ah.
Robonob the Snob gives 23.99 euros and says, I like when a city has plenty of little corners and dead ends. It feels real rather than utilitarian like most games. The aforementioned Ghostwire Tokyo and The Darkness are perfect examples.
Oh, The Darkness. That's a good one.
I
You can watch a whole movie in the darkness. You can watch all of To Kill a
know.
Mockingbird in the darkness.
Yeah, what was it
Yes.
called? I showed it to Marty, Fragmented City. That's another one, like little town
Yeah.
adventure. Cults come through and you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. They don't really tell you much of anything. Another one, The Last Explorer. You're on a tiny island. All you have is a camera.
Yeah.
You know? It's big boom.
Yeah. Short hike, little gator game.
A
Does that count?
fox named Sean gives $5 and says, about Suicide Squad, I believe that game was built on the corpse of a Superman game that Warner Brothers rejected since it's in Metropolis.
A
here's
lot of people
question.
thought that, but Jason Schreier debunked that and said that's not true.
Well, I have a question for you. Do you think people would like a Superman game?
Yes.
It
I don't
seems
think
to
he'd be a fun
me.
character to play as. I do not think so.
Break
Well,
everything.
there's that, and there's the. I think I might actually do a semi-emblematic about this because it's something I've been thinking about since playing Suicide Squad. But are we living in an age that is just too cynical for superheroes in the traditional sense?
No.
Everything
What?
superhero related lately has been like Superman's evil now, or subverting or deconstructing it, like the boys.
Wait, it looks like the stream died.
What? I was in flow, you bastard.
I was in flow, he says.
We were flowing. Mm,
All right, let's resume offline.
There
God,
we
it
go.
feels kind of lonely, doesn't it?
What do you
It's-
mean?
This is
It's like an
Windbreaker
echo to
After
it.
Dark.
I could take my pants
Yeah.
off now, finally.
Anyway, Aitor Urabari gives Saike 500 arses and says, what about cities and city builder games? Can they eventually achieve a sense of place even if you built them yourself and you watch them from above? The towns in Knights and Merchants felt very real to me, watching inhabitants actually live there.
Not the way I do them. Not the way I make cities. Shaped like cocks. You know?
Well, how can you be immersed in a city if you're hovering like 50 meters above it, looking down?
Can you
Well,
be immersed in something you built? Like Yahtzee, do you get immersed in the worlds you create, like your books or your games? Like,
Is that
Well,
narcissistic?
not in the same way. I mean, I have to
Yeah.
be immersed in that. I have to know what all the characters are going to do next.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm losing myself in a fictional place that has a mind of its own. It just feels like, yeah, I know what this is all about.
I think that's why like Manor Lords is getting so popular because it has that mode where you essentially incarnate and can walk through. Maybe it was the clothes I was wearing. I felt like Santa. I just saw a big red
Okay.
cape, big red hat. I'm like, I am your god. I've come to say things to you. I don't know. What about like Civilization? Does that give a sense of like a thriving city.
Not
No, because so
really.
many of those feel. I mean, like SimCity more so at least because it's an actual city, but like Civilization again feels like a very like a rough approximation of
Okay.
something, right? I don't know. I don't play enough. I also don't play enough of those games for it to like really impact me one way or the other.
Yeah, I just got that problem of like if I draw something, I was like, oh, that thing's hideous. I see
Yeah.
all the flaws, so yeah, I don't
Yeah.
get as lost into it.
Mm-hmm.
SVSGuru 2000 gives €5. Says, what's darker, a row of gallows with corpses dangling from them, or a row of pikes with severed heads? I guess I'd say the gallows because they've got whole corpses.
Tiny baby
That's-
coffins,
That's
Tiny baby-
quantifiably more.
all in the line.
For sale, baby shoes never worn.
Yep,
Think about that. I just came up with that on the spot.
going
I
out of
don't know.
business.
I mean, it's tragic, but if a person who's
Don't
lived,
whatever you're about to say about dead babies, we don't.
person who's lived quite a
he's
while
father now.
and like has some like prospects in life, dying is arguably more tragic than just a blank slate of a baby getting killed. I'd say.
I realize we don't have a video version. I've just been shaking my head the last like 10 seconds.
The sound of Marty
Look,
wagging his
I am
finger.
of us all. I'm the person who's most invested in not killing babies.
He's got a
And,
point.
You do have a point. Yeah.
I mean, I've sort of gone off dead baby jokes just because when someone brings it up, I think of my baby.
This
I
is not
think,
funny
well,
when there's a
that's-
live baby.
No, I wouldn't like my baby to die.
No.
That's a horrible thing to have to think about.
Yeah.
But
Beautiful.
even I would
Character
say
growth.
that like a 30-year-old dying is probably worse than a baby dying.
What's the saddest age of someone dying? Because at a certain point, if they've lived long enough, you're like, well, they lived a nice life.
120.
Okay. Yeah, probably around 20. Around
20,
just
pure
before
20.
they've reached their physical peak and had time to enjoy themselves at their physical peak.
It's like a 99. Like, oh, you almost made it. Just 1 year off.
At that point,
Then you can
gotta keep
commit
going.
crimes.
Gotta keep going.
Jombly Wobbly gives 2,500 CRCs and says Shadow Moses, GW, Celino Yask, South America, Afghanistan, Angola Zaire, Silent Hills, Fired.
That was just all the Kojima cities.
Yeah.
Did it. That was
What
just
the
Metal
hell's-
Gear 1, 2, 3.
What's Fired from?
I believe him being fired.
Oh, okay.
I think that was like his Konami career ended with him fired.
Aitor Urabari comes back with another 500 asses and says, also, I really loved the newest episode of Adventure is Nigh. Seeing Egalier breaking down was hilarious, and the scene with Mortimer and the Needle was really suspenseful. Can't wait
Aw.
to see how you bullshit your way out of Papa Latavia this time.
Papa Latavia.
Yeah.
You got to keep tuning in and watching to find
Only
out.
2 more episodes.
Wesley Thomas gives $5 Canadian and says, speaking of Yahtzee's books, will Leave the Galaxy reveal who's really Jacques McKeown, or will we still have to guess? Yes, it will, Wesley Thomas.
This
It's
whole
the
time,
last-
no one's known who he is.
The last ever book in the Jacques McKeown trilogy. I will not be writing any more. It was always
gosh.
intended to be a trilogy and no more.
Is that his pen name?
Yes, Jacques McKeown is sort of a mysterious character who the main character impersonates through the course of the trilogy,
Okay.
but we never know who precisely they are.
Interesting.
Gilden Yetic gives $2 and says MMO cities can be memorable, even over familiar. Well, I
Yeah,
never
you-
quite figured out how to get around in fucking Undercity all the time I was playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I'm not a. I would like to ask. I wonder what Jay thinks about because he's put a shit ton of time into like WoW and Guild Wars and stuff. Like if he feels like those cities feel like actual cities, or if it's more of like this has just become my part-time job.
This is work. Okay.
This is just work. This is just dominoes.
Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, stretching here, but thoughts on Metroidvania locations like Symphony of the Night's Dracula's Castle and Yum Yum Bum Lick, Poacher's Underground World.
We're
That's one of
getting
my
back
games.
into- We're getting back into like map design, aren't we? City.
I don't know.
City,
I mean,
Metroidvania City?
I think Metroidvanias, as I've said before, by their very nature, have to be utilitarian.
Yeah,
So it's hard to have that sense of a place that exists outside of the game.
yeah. Dracula's Castle doesn't feel like a place he lives. Like the only, I guess
No.
he would like hang out in his throne room and maybe that library.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
but with all these fucking wolves.
I mean, yes. What the fuck else that goes on in that castle?
Yeah, same thing with even
I mean,
like
what do you
Hollow
do
Knight.
if you just?
You
Where
know,
do you go if you just want to have a sandwich?
Yeah.
Like wake up in the middle of the night in Dracula's castle and want a sandwich. Where does he go?
You got to bust the right wall. You got to find a wall. You got to crack it open, and maybe like a turkey leg comes out of it.
fridge is in the upside down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Hollow Knight, which is based in the city or whatever of Hollow, be it the sewers, be it the city, be it the jungle, it's all platforming and all feels about the same.
How can a castle with no toilets have such extraordinary sewers?
When you said, although there's one implied toilet in Symphony of the Night, and it's when you go to the library and you meet the librarian that you buy shit from, you can
Yeah.
also hit him from underneath. There's like a little tunnel, and if you like high jump above it, you can like hit him from underneath, and it looks like he's just shitting on his chair, and the shit goes down into the room below him.
That doesn't even outflow into the sewers, though.
No, it's just a room below. It's just the room under him. It'd be like just shitting in your basement. Also, when you said Hollow Knight is based on, I thought you were going to say a real city. I was like, there's no way Hollow Knight's based on. I thought you'd be like, Hollow Knight is based on Lisbon. I was like, what?
Humane Shield gives $4.99 and says, Yahtzee, what US president will you celebrate next Monday? I'm supporting William Taft, USA heaviest president at 325 pounds. USA, USA.
Got stuck in his own bathtub, man.
And he was a great gamer. That's why he's 325 pounds, because he used to work out every time he lost, and then he wasn't no scrub.
Yeah. Stopped with it. Yeah. Favorite president. There you go.
It's funny how back in the day, 325 pounds was like freak show obese.
Yeah. And now it's like 30% of Americans are there.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot of corn syrup.
I don't know. I will celebrate William Henry Harrison.
There you go.
He died in 40 days.
Yes, we remember that episode of The Simpsons, don't we?
Yes. Oh, sorry. We don't have video anymore. I was giving a thumbs up. I did.
Race Car Lock gives $5 and says, at what point do open world details go from adding some kind of value to the world to horse plop plop syndrome?
Too much detail. Well, it's Yassi's thing with Red Dead. How it's like, who took the time to make this so detailed?
Oh, the horse testing
shit. Yeah.
Yes, when you get bored and stop caring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can only have so many, not so much a fake out, but if there's no payoff to the actual exploration, eventually it will glaze over. Like Atomic Heart, they'd have these moments where it's like, hey, branch off and explore. And I was like, nah, there's dick hole here. There's just drawers to wave my hand at. And no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Elise Tanner gives $4.99 and says, I feel like Lego games have really immersive cities. The cities in Skywalker Saga impressed me. If you say so.
Them Star Wars cities. What?
Yeah, Skywalker Saga. That was I guess that might just part of it might be like, oh, you did a good Star Wars city. I like a city where you just break everything.
Oh, if only.
Yeah.
Well, that was all the super chats I had.
That was all I had as well before the incident.
We're broke.
Before the terror.
The night terror.
Okay, well, thanks for whoever's still listening to this. Thanks for listening to Windbreaker podcast. Sorry about all that.
You know who I blame? Bill Gates.
Reagan.
Eric?
I blame Reagan. I don't blame Eric. His internet went out. We don't have control over that.
Okay, fine. I blame capitalism.
I blame capitalism as well.
Every damn thing.
Yeah.
Are we
do
good?
the usual sign-offs?
Yeah, are we plugging
Say what you're working on. You might as well.
Okay, well, Persona 3 review this week.
Boom.
Suicide Squad review next week. Yahtzee Tries will be on a couple of indie games I like. We'll be playing Ultros and this MMO puzzler thing that I quite like.
Oh, wait, did you already play Island of Insight?
Islands of Insight, yeah.
Did you play it yet? Did you give it a try?
Yeah, I've been playing it. I've been holding out for some anagram puzzles, but it's okay so far.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, a big world of nothing but puzzles you do at the coffee table.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's what I like.
Mm. Oh, nice.
Although I just unlocked like the gliding wings and they kind of suck.
Yeah. That'd probably be good for like the parkour puzzles or something. I don't know.
Needs a grapple hook.
Yeah.
Frost, what do you have going on?
Unironically.
We just got a cold take, a little design video there talking about numbers, the numbies in the video games, you know, when to do them, when to not, or, you know, just give them the option to turn them off if you're going to have all those numbers. And I think that should be it for me. Yeah. What you got, Marty?
Just working on a bunch of bunch of bullshit.
You're
No.
right.
The biggest thing I can't talk about yet, but you'll be able to see the fruit of that labor in a few weeks. Yeah, and other than that, just thank you all so much for tuning in. Apologies for technical difficulties, and we appreciate you, especially the listeners who get to hear this, because so often we're focused on the viewers, and now we're talking right in your ear holes.
Yeah, especially for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's it from us then.
Bye
There's
all.
there's Toffee again.
You can't
Oh,
hear him.
Well,
what's the
waiting
sound
for
of
us-
one toffee walking behind your head? Clop, 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 clop. Big old shit kickers, toffee. Bye, everyone.
Bye all.
Oh.